Hello everyone, Phil here, and welcome to DSP versus the Internet. I believe this is episode 17 for June 10th, 2023. This is part 1 of 6. And this week, we are doing something different. Per your feedback over the last many months, members have said they wanted it to be a fair chance to have your video watched here on the show. What's happened is I made it a first come, first served deal, but when I did that, a lot of people were getting an advantage on always having their videos watched on the show. So after listening to your suggestions and feedback, this week we have changed the format. We are still going to watch Ultra member videos first. So that's about 7 different people who are going to get their videos watched because they're the highest tier of supporter here on the channel. But once we get through those videos, then we're going to switch over to the standard members. And the standard members are going to be shuffle order. Doesn't matter what order they submitted their videos, they all have an equal chance to be watched on the show. Now, I need to say this up front. This is the first time I'm attempting this. You can't even do shuffle on the TV app. Therefore, I'm using my phone app synced with the TV app to try to get this to work. There may be some technical issues, and I will forewarn everyone ahead of time. Sorry if that happens. I swear we'll try to clear it up. Sorry that we have problems here if we do have problems, okay? I'll do my absolute best to make sure that doesn't happen, but and also to remedy this if it happens, all right? But the show should be fun. Hopefully a good variety of stuff this week. If you like this content, if you're someone who watches this on demand and maybe, hey, you wanted to be a member, but you kind of held off, well, now would be a great time to become a member because now it's an equal footing for everyone, an equal opportunity to get your video watched moving forward on this show, okay? Also, perhaps someone who used to be a member and said, I don't really like the format because my videos didn't get watched, maybe you'd like to consider becoming a member again this week. That would be great. Thanks to those who are members. We have over 70 members currently on the channel, and I really, really appreciate that support. All right, without further ado, we're about to get started. Another thing I'm trying, I actually have my headphones plugged into my joystick rather than my gamepad, so that way I don't need to use the battery on my gamepad. I don't know how that's going to work either. All right, let's try. Let's see what happens here. Our first video is called USS Barb, the submarine that sank a train.
Mission in 1942, it is a Gato-class diesel-electric-powered submarine. Serving in a total of 12 war patrols, it is credited with the sinking of 17 enemy ships. Amongst those ships was a frigate, a cruiser, and an entire aircraft carrier. And if you don't know what any of that means, they're really big ships. Big ships means a big deal. Science. Here's the thing though, that 17, that's just the actual enemy navy that it sunk. If you want to see the actual damage they did, we have to check out their battle flag. With the exception of a couple ribbons up top, every patch on this flag represents a different enemy objective that the USS Barb deleted. For example, each one of these ones represents a different enemy merchant ship. And each one of these represents 7 smaller enemy merchant ships. Look, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the USS Barb fucked up more enemy infrastructure than Godzilla. Don't take my word for it though, even the enemy's own records and
This guy's green screen, you notice how it's like blurry around him? I wonder what that is. Is that a true green screen, or is that someone told me that you can now do green screen technology, that you don't need a green screen, right? That software can actually do it. But is that what he's doing, and is that what's resulting with kind of like the blurriness around him? I'm curious. I've seen this a lot recently, the more blurry green screen stuff, and I'm curious if that's why it looks like that. Yes, is that true? That's why. Because some people have said to me, why don't I do it? I was like, well, I mean, we could try, but it doesn't look that good, you know? It just doesn't look that good at all.
Indicated that the USS Barb was credited with sinking the most tonnage of their ships. Tonnage! Do you have any idea how bad you have to be getting your ass beat to start keeping track of it by the ton? And all this happened before it got out of hand. Cue this man, Eugene Lucky Flucky. He was the commander of the USS Barb in the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th War Patrol.
What a name.
What's important to understand is a commander of a submarine at this point in time was only allowed to serve in a maximum of 4 war patrols, because the Navy believed that any more than that, they would either become too cautious or too reckless. So on the USS Barb's 11th War Patrol, which was also Flucky's 4th and presumably his last war patrol, the USS Barb and her crew, under the command of Lucky Flucky, decided, fuck it, we're just gonna revolutionize warfare for fun. You see, up until this point, submarines really just lied and waited for an enemy boat to sail by, and then they'd sink it with a torpedo. Flucky, though, decided that on his last war patrol, he was gonna go out on the offensive. And to do this, Flucky decided that they would utilize a new strategy that he liked to call maximum harassment, which is just a fancy way of saying, hold my periscope, cause shit's about to get real. They literally started driving through the enemy. And on January 28th, 1945, they would sail the USS Barb through a shallow minefield into an enemy harbor with 30 enemy ships in it. Firing a total of 8 torpedoes at the enemy ships, he would break the record for the most enemy tonnage launch sunk in a day. They would then
Wow.
turn around and escape completely unharmed. This was considered to be the most successful submarine raid of all time at this point. And if you don't know, submarining is called the silent service because they do not talk about what they do. This was so impressive that it became headline news. For this, Flucky was awarded the Medal of Honor, which brings a perfect close to an epic career of commanding submarines. Right? Nah. Lucky Flucky would then request to be able to have a 5th war patrol with the USS
He wants even
Barb.
more.
A request that
That's
they
cool.
granted him, despite their fears that he would become either too conservative or too reckless. Once they granted him this 5th patrol, he immediately requested that the USS Barb be fitted with rocket launchers. Gotta set a tone. Which Uncle Sam actually agreed to because fucking America, making the USS Barb the first submarine to ever be equipped with rockets and to have the capability of attacking a target on land. The harassment just got more maximum. So under the command of Lucky Flucky, the USS Barb would go out on its 12th and final war patrol. They would utilize their new rocket launchers to do shore bombardment.
Was this a TikTok video? You see how this is TikTok? Was this entire thing a TikTok video? Because I thought TikTok videos are really short, right? So maybe he did a series on TikTok and then he edited them all together to be one YouTube video. This TikTok thing is getting out of hand. Just make a YouTube video. We don't need fuck TikTok. His name is the Fat Electrician. I just realized his name. Darzak says, yes, you can tell this is a program to remove the background. Okay, so basically this guy had a series of TikToks that he must have looped together. I see. Okay. By the way, if you notice that I'm leaning forward here and doing stuff, I'm just banning people, just so you guys know. Don't pay attention to it. There's always people who come into my react show and try to be stupid, and I'm just going to very silently take care of it. I'm not even going to address the people. I'm just going to wipe them right off the chat and continue on nicely. There we go.
It's much like larger warships. They destroyed multiple enemy factories and other objectives, becoming the first submarine in history to destroy enemy objectives on land, paving the way for what is now modern-day submarine warfare. Medal of Honor revolutionized submarine warfare twice, still not enough. Back to the battle flag. Okay, I told you each one of these patches means it sunk something, right? Did anybody notice there's a fucking train on it? July 23rd, 1945.
Oh, on the bottom.
The USS Barb and her crew decide that spawn killing supply ships as they leave the harbor was for casuals. They're gonna put a stop to this in the loading screen. They're gonna play a little game of fluck around and find out with the train before it can even drop off its cargo to the ships. But there's a catch. Getting close enough to use the rocket launchers will almost certainly get them caught. So they hatch a plan that they're going to send a small group of men ashore on a little raft. These men would then booby-trap the train tracks with a 55-pound scuttling charge, blowing up the train. And if you don't know, a scuttling charge is an explosive that a ship has on it in case it needs to sink itself to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. Big, very big boom. But there's a problem with that. To detonate it, they can't use a timer because the timing of the train is unpredictable. And they're not willing to leave a man behind to set it off manually. So they seek the help of the man that I can only assume is the most beautiful, slightly alcoholic, broom-fearing man on the USS Barb, the electrician. And he's able to cook up a homemade pressure switch that they can put underneath the railroad tie, so when the train drives by, it'll put enough pressure that it'll detonate the scuttling charge. So the small team goes out, makes it to land, sets the charge, becoming the first and only Americans to actually officially invade the main islands of Japan during World War II.
Wow.
They then get back in the raft and head back to the USS Barb, and the train comes by. The men reported that the engine of that train went 200 feet in the air, marking the first and only flight test of a freight train. Thomas the train engine would then find out that gravity's a motherfucker, get bitch slapped with the planet before tumbling into the ocean, officially giving the USS Barb bragging rights of being the only naval vessel to sink a freight train. But the best bragging right of all is the fact that under the command of Eugene Lucky Flucky, not a single sailor was killed or seriously injured under his command during his time on the USS
Super
Barb.
impressive.
The USS Barb would then be given to the Italian Navy, where it served until 1972. It was then sold for scrap for a price of $100,000. Because shitty decisions. Speaking of shitty decisions, there's a bunch of other websites that are now stealing my shirt designs, but if you actually want to support
Really?
me,
That's
the only
fucked up.
place you can get my shirts is from my merch store at thefatelectrician.com or from Bunker Branding. Anyone else is just trying to steal my shit. The highly requested USS Texas design and the most
The gangster lean. He has funny designs. The gangster lean. Yes. Cool. That was pretty interesting. It was short and sweet and interesting. A little bit of historical context. The guy's delivery is kind of funny. I do think it's kind of weird that it's a TikTok video with weird UI or AI or weird green screen generation. It's very bizarre looking, especially because it moves around. You notice that, right? Like, kind of like it jitters and sometimes he becomes invisible. You gotta think that technology will become better in time. Maybe I would eventually use it myself, but right now I don't think it's really there. Plus, I like my background anyway. So, all right, good for submission. Let's see what's next. So look at this. This is actually a YouTube original, which I didn't realize. Now, I think people are going to figure out who this one is from. I'll give a little bit of context after we watch this little trailer. Let's watch it first, okay?
What is K-pop?
It's bright lights, vibrant colors, crazy concepts.
Yeah, I wonder who could have submitted
fans.
this one.
Fans are everything.
뿐만 아니라 비주얼, 아트웍.
K-pop is huge.
What people know as K-pop now started from 서태지.
서태지와 아이들의 축하 공연입니다.
Yep, I saw this last week actually, or last month I should say.
I mean, I loved it. It was like, yo, that's what we want to do.
또 한국만의 스타일, K-팝이라는 스타일로 또 변형되고
It's
자리
like R&B
잡힌 것
dancing from the
같은데
90s.
High five old teenager.
They're so good.
도화가 대단하다.
They're like queen of retro.
Everybody has Gangnam Style.
역시 한국인의 흥이 전 세계를 강타하는구나라는 느낌이란 게 있었는데.
The idol training process, it's part talent search and part training program. In Korea, the idea you can create a star is very alive.
It's such a different culture thing. It really is.
너무
It really is. It's
햇빛 때까지
crazy.
하고.
It's a whole part of their ingrained culture, the idol culture.
진짜 기절해서 자고
Standing in
싶어.
Japan.
왜 우린 기절 안 해?
You're not supposed to date publicly or privately.
사람이니까.
At the peak of success, there's no break because what if you miss that opportunity?
앞으로에 대한 미래가 달려 있는.
They say the chance of getting that big is harder than the lottery.
계속 되뇌는 것 같아요. 계속 외우는 것 같아요. 잘해야지.
Can you imagine? Because you gotta think of it this way, right? He's right. Getting big is harder than the lottery. Why? Is because there's so many people doing it. It's part of culture in Korea and Japan and other Asian countries as well. But Korea and Japan are like the two biggest ones, where they have this whole process. It's a whole business, a whole process where there's a talent search. You're trained since you're a kid into teen years. You're doing all this work, and there's thousands of people pushed through this process, right? Just to get to a level where anyone will even see you. And then when they see you, will they like you? Then will you blow up in popularity? Like for every, probably every group that succeeds in those processes, there's probably like 10,000 failures, right? It's pretty insane to think. There's a whole culture based on this, right? And in America, there is some stuff like this, but still a lot of it is very luck based. Not a lot of it is based on a process. There's no formal process to go through to become a pop idol in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no, oh, this is how you do it. You grow up and you do this and you go to this school and you go to this club, you get a manager and you train here, you do that. It doesn't really exist. It's different. I mean, take a look at Justin Bieber, who got noticed literally from just singing in YouTube videos, right? So, anyway, interesting. And this is, just so you know, we'll finish watching the video, but I think what's going to happen, this is from Slayer, and Slayer is one of the people who actually gets the private react videos. He pledges to my Patreon every month, and a lot of the videos he has me react to are actual K-pop documentary, well, not documentary, but like K-pop countdowns, where I watch some of the most popular K-pop videos of all time and stuff like that, right? So the interesting thing about this is, he's gonna now have me watch this documentary series. This is the trailer for it, and this is like a multi-part series that 100% factually covers it. It's not just me watching music videos and reacting to them. It's actually learning all about the process. This will actually be fascinating because I've played games like Yakuza, and in those games, this whole pop idol thing is part of the culture over there, and I just don't get it. It like blows my mind that this is part of something on planet Earth, really. So now I'll be learning all about it slowly. I think every month he's gonna have me watch like a new part of the documentary or something like that moving forward. And if you're interested, Slayer has his own YouTube channel where he puts up those videos every month, all the private react stuff. He makes them public. So anyway, that's the trailer for it, and I'll be watching this shortly. I think I might actually be watching part 1 as early as tomorrow. We'll see.
그리고 멋있어야지.
The K-pop Evolution series. This was 2 years ago. It's called DSP's Biggest K-pop Fan. That's the name of his channel. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right, on to the next. So far,
What
this
makes
is working.
Batman so special? What makes him so interesting? And why do so many people
This is called What Makes Batman Special, celebrating 82 years of Batman. Well, it's 12 minutes long. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing. Let's watch some of it, though.
love him? And why does he infuriate others, which is very clearly mirrored in the universes that he occupies, very much being looked up to by some and tolerated / disdained by others, just like in the comic book community, where there are many who are very tired of this character as well. There is a lot to unpack with Batman. I do not have a script today on this. I usually don't, but I usually will do some kind of bullet point thing. However, I just wanted this to be natural. This is a character that I have a lot of experience and love with and for. I would say in some ways this character made my career, if you even want to call it that, or my channel, or whatever you want to call it. This character...
His channel is called Degenerate J. Okay. I guess he has a lot of Batman content, huh?
Brought many of you to my channel and has helped introduce a lot of you to new characters, new things, and new ideas. So we all owe this character quite a bit, just in terms of our own personal experience with him, if you're someone
Is
who's
that
been-
anime? I got a question again. A lot of questions today. Is that animation a standard animation that YouTube provides for everyone to use or something? Because I've seen it on so many videos we've been watching, the whole, oh, subscribe with the bell. I mean, I don't use that. I never have. I never will. I'm not going to put that shit on my videos. But a lot of people seem to use that. But it's the same animation, right? Is this just a common animation everyone reuses? Or is it something that's provided by YouTube? I don't even know. It's just weird to me that it's like the same animation for everyone. Like, where did they get it from, right? That they're superimposing it on all their videos. But you know me. If you want to subscribe, please do. Thanks. You can talk in the chat if you subscribe. But I'm not going to sit here pushing that you guys subscribe to my channel or anything like that. If you like it, subscribe to it. You don't need to see a big intrusive thing pop up. Darcy X says, looks similar. This doesn't have the bell sing sound, so there's actually one that has like a ding sound effect. Okay.
Here for a while. Now, I personally have very mixed feelings on Batman, not in terms of loving him, but in terms of just, personal crap. There is a lot of stuff with Batman that I absolutely adore, which I'll get into here, and things that I think make him special. And
This is all
I
from the
love
video
him to
games.
death. And on the other hand, a small part of me that's petty and smaller is consistently frustrated with the character because of how special and important and popular he is, that he overshadows so many other characters and so many other stories, even on this channel. I mean, it's one of those things where YouTube knows Batman is popular, let's just shove that forward. But if he talks about Superman and not as many people care, we won't show them that.
No, he's absolutely right. Like, Batman has absolutely permeated pop culture. It even started back as early as the 1960s, the Adam West TV show, the campy one with Burt Ward, and they were punching cartoony looking guys. It was the big, exploding things on the screen. Yeah, by the way, guys, anyone spamming chat with Skip is going to get banned, just so you know. You spam Skip in the chat, I'm just going to ban you right away, and I'm not going to even give you a chance to defend yourself. It's very disrespectful and stupid and counterproductive for the show. Spam Skip, say goodbye. Okay, but anyway, the point I'm making is it's weird that Batman, of all the DC Comics characters, is the prominent one. In reality, for the longest time, it was Superman. Superman was the big guy. And then I guess what happened was, when the Tim Burton Batman movie came out, that all changed. Like, the Superman movies were very prominent, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. And then when the Batman movie came out and it showed this is a darker hero, it's violent, it's adult, it's not for kids, right? I think what happened is this like changed the aspect of how people saw superheroes, and all of a sudden, Batman became number one, right? Like, Batman is way up here, Superman's down here now. Especially when you talk about pop culture. Batman's had 1 million TV shows, 1 million comic books, 1 million animated shows, movies. Superman's had a few, right? It's just weird how Batman has become so prominent. Maybe it's because Batman is human. While you have all these superpowered people around you, he's the one that's a normal guy who's just infinitely rich, and therefore he can continue to be a superhero. And even, he's hyper intelligent. That's why he's able to beat all these superpowered people around him, all these super villains. While in a lot of ways, all the other heroes You know, why are they heroes? Because they're powerful, because they have powers. Well, Batman doesn't have powers, right? But he's still able to hang. So, pretty interesting. Anyway.
It's something where even AI algorithms know how big Batman is, which is both very cool and very frustrating depending on what end of that
Sure, I can agree there.
You are on.
Sometimes Batman Overload is a
Batman
pain in the ass.
is a character that exists in so many different continuities, and that is one thing that makes him very special. And yes, all of these characters do, right? There's so many forms of Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Spider-Man, you know, Doctor Strange, Venom, any of these characters on either side of Marvel or DC, either of them in the infinite multiverses of each continuity. There are so many versions of them, but the difference with Batman is that so many of them have been fleshed out. We have seen so many of them brought to life, either on the big screen or in comic book form. And so many people have different favorites of Batman, whether it's this.
I'm Batman.
Ah, so good.
Maybe your favorite is this.
I held Harley Quinn.
No.
She was bleeding and dying. She begged me with her last breath that when I killed you, and make no mistake, I will
That is not my favorite.
that I do it slow.
You almost had me.
There's much more emotional takes, such as this.
Turning me into a weapon.
This is so
for
cool, this
justice,
scene. The
they
animated
said.
series.
They got
This is
their
Justice League
weapon.
Unlimited.
I got cheated out of my childhood.
I know what that's like.
I'm dying very soon.
Yes.
Could you stay with me?
Super emotional episode of the animated series.
Or maybe it's
I
the
love
one
that
that brought
series
many
from
of
back
you
in
to
the
this
day.
channel
So
in the
good.
first place and got you introduced to me. There's so many different versions of Batman, and they all have their own unique personalities, personality traits, and abilities and mindsets. However, they all share one thing in common, which I think really brings Batman up in terms of popularity and excitement, and that is the idea that a man can compete with God.
That's what I just said.
That is the idea that a man, through sheer will and strength and training and smarts, can actually raise himself up
Outsmarting
in a
the
universe
superpowered
to be
people.
feared as a myth, as a legend, and even as a symbol. This is a character who, on the streets of Gotham, can inspire criminals to absolute fear, while also can sit in the watchtower of the Justice League, typing up some kind of, surveillance thing, watching over the earth, and fulfilling a role there. You know, this is a character that can fulfill so many different roles. This is a character who will not kill you in most continuities. There are
True
some
too.
where he will, but he will make you wish that you were dead. It's a character that inspires fear and anger, and it really does sort of, I guess, encapsulate a modern myth in terms of these universes, which I think is very exciting to readers and viewers and just fans of the character in general. He's also a character that's accessible across a wide range of ages.
Yep.
Now, whether
Kid's
you
hero,
are
but he's a
someone who
very gritty
is
adult hero
4
too.
years old having a Batman party based off of a more kiddish version of Batman, or you're someone, sitting on HBO Max watching Batman say that he will fucking kill the Joker, it does not matter who you are. There is a Batman for you. And there's always these arguments
there's
about
this
who
game
Batman is.
that looks like it's gonna be
Batman doesn't
horrible.
kill, Batman doesn't do this. One of the best things about Batman that a lot of people don't talk about with these different versions is that some do and some don't. And those things are a big fall from grace for certain characters, and also a interesting talking point for others. Does the Dark Knight Batman, for example, does him not saving Ra's al Ghul, or does him allowing certain people to die, does that matter? Does that count as killing? Versus Michael Keaton's Batman knocking a grenade back at a guy and killing it.
Right.
Which of these
Michael
things
Keaton
do we
Batman
care
kicked
more
ass.
about?
He killed
But
everybody.
then, you have Ben Affleck's Batman, where it's a bigger deal because he's gunning people down with the Batmobile, very obviously. There's a lot of discussion around this character and passion because of this rule. It's even stated in The Dark Knight.
You have all these rules, and you think they'll save you. I have one rule. And that's the rule you'll have to break to know the truth.
Which is?
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. And tonight, you're gonna break your one rule.
This rule is so important to people because of what a key cornerstone it is to the character. Will this Batman kill? Will he not? Why did he start killing? Can he stop? Does this make Batman different than anyone else? Is Batman's refusing to kill actually almost a sociopathic trait in and of itself? Whereas you have serial killers who must take the lives of others. Is Batman's preserve life at all cost in some of these universes? Is that just his version of that sort of sociopathy?
That was a cool combo takedown, by
Is
the way.
that just his
I like
fixation on preserving life because of what happened to his parents, even though preserving that life might end up, it might end other lives. For example, the Joker. You save the Joker, how many more hundreds of people will he kill?
Right.
This is even pointed out in The Dark Knight Returns, especially in the movie, which I think really sums it up the best.
All the people I've murdered by letting you live.
Never kept count.
I did.
These elements of Batman make him so fascinating to people, and we haven't even gotten into the fact that he is a playable character in some fantastic video games that introduced so many to him. Again, across a wide variety of ages. Whether it's Lego Batman, you're experiencing Batman for the first time through the Lego Batman games, in a Lego lens, having a fun time with some dark elements, whether it's the movie of that same exact concept, whether it is the...
I think we can end this here because he's right. The reason that Batman is so popular is because he's so accessible to so many people. There's different versions of him that appeal to different age ranges, to different groups. There's multiverse versions of him that are more... You can have a gritty Batman who cares nothing about anything and just kills everyone. You can have a Batman who's more of a moral compass. You know what I'm saying? And that's why. But I think ultimately, like I said at the beginning of the video, it comes down to the fact that he is a human. He is someone fighting against all odds, against all these things against him. Supervillains, other superpowered beings. He's the normal person among all the chaotic madness around him. And he still perseveres through intelligence and a moral code. And I think that's why people like Batman so much. I do agree. I think there's Batman like fatigue at this point. Like, I just saw the recent Batman movie, The Batman, and I was like, it's good, but I don't feel for it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, when I saw the Tim Burton Batman movies, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool seeing Batman on the big screen. And then you see the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, you're like, oh, it's a different take. And then you see the next one, and you see the next one. Like, all right, there's too many now. Like, I understand there's so many Batman. Do we always need to have a modern Batman movie in the theaters? It gets to the point where it seems like it's just too much at a point, But I get it. I get the appeal of the character. Okay, guys, actually, this is a good place to split the part. Thank you for watching. This is part 1 of DSP versus the Internet for June 10th, 2023. We still have more Ultra member submissions to get through before we get to the random select aspect of what we're going to do. I'd like to say thanks to everyone who's here chilling with me live on stream. Thanks to those watching on demand. And I hope to see you for part 2 in just a moment. Thanks a lot.